quite significant. Before it's too late, your soulmate is pleading with you to hear this message. Don't skip, my dear youngster. Not because these words are unremarkable, but rather because they convey a message that has been waiting for your eyes to see it. There is something enormous in store for you. You might never understand why your heart has been restless lately if you run away right now. Someone's quiet has been more powerful than any dialogue. Someone who has repeatedly called your name till it is hard to ignore them. Your partner is on the verge of making a choice they never thought they would have to make. They have buried hope behind everyday routines, concealed tears behind smiles, and persuaded everyone around them that everything is all right. However, the truth will no longer be concealed. They have been carrying a message for far too long. And it has grown heavier with each day that goes by. They are pleading for a single opportunity. They are afraid that one more delay could permanently alter things, not because they want perfection. Avoid skipping. Continue until the very end. A story that has been developing long before now is revealed with each second you spend here. This is just the beginning of what you're going to hear. It's the point at when everything begins to make sense. Strange memories have suddenly surfaced for a reason. A face you could never quite recall, a familiar sensation, an overly real dream. It wasn't an accident. Your soulmate has been going through exactly the same things, wondering why they are drawn to someone they can't explain to anyone else due to an unseen connection. Every effort to move on somehow brought them closer to thoughts of you, even though they tried to convince themselves it was just their imagination. Then an unforeseen event occurred. Everything was abruptly altered by a conversation they had not intended to have. They were compelled to cease acting as though their emotions didn't exist by a single, straightforward statement from a loved one. Every justification fell apart in that moment. All the carefully constructed walls started to fall apart. They came to see that the message they had been reluctant to convey was starting to take precedence above their concern about being misinterpreted. They were completely shaken by the discovery. There's a big thing waiting for you, so don't skip. The next section of this tale explains why your soulmate feels that time is no longer on their side, so stay tuned. Every night, they ask themselves the same question. What happens if I wait a day too long? They can no longer get away from that one thought. This is where everything changes, so pay close attention. Your partner is no longer hesitant to talk. They want to know if they have enough time before fate closes a door that they believed would never close. They have begun to see indicators that defy rationality. Small moments that keep bringing you back into their thoughts, as though every route they take somehow leads to the same place. It is harder and harder to deny what their heart has been trying to tell them as they approach the truth. They want you to know that there was never a lack of affection behind their quiet. It was the existence of fear. Fear of being late. Dread of using the incorrect words. Fear that someone else might win your heart before they have the guts to do so. However, something has changed. They sense that waiting any longer could turn out to be the worst decision they have ever made. This is the reason this message is so urgent. Don't skip because everything you believe to be true is altered with the following revelation. Continue until the very end. There is something enormous in store for you. Neither of you could have predicted what your soulmate is getting ready to do next. After a moment your sweetheart never anticipated, everything became more intense. Everyone didn't notice the dramatic event. It was a silent, nearly imperceptible event that permanently altered the course of their hearts. They heard someone talking, saw something that made them think of you, or had a straightforward experience that brought back feelings they had been suppressing. They couldn't stop thinking about you after that day. Every night ended with the same sense that time was running out, and every morning started with unresolved questions. They began to imagine what life would be like if they had never had the guts to tell you what they had been keeping from you. More terrifying to them than rejection itself was that possibility. They came to the realization that hearing an unexpected response would be far less painful than losing the opportunity to be honest. There's a big thing waiting for you, so don't skip. Continue until the very end. The invisible pull gets stronger as they get closer to making this choice. They feel as though their future is subtly calling them ahead, and even seemingly unremarkable locations suddenly bring back memories they haven't fully formed yet. They are no longer able to divert their attention with work, rituals, or never-ending justifications. They realize deep down that there is just one path left. And the same message seems to be whispered by each heartbeat. Take action before it's too late. They were taken aback by what transpired next. It was casually said by someone close to your love that life frequently offers only one truly memorable opportunity, and once that moment passes, it never comes again in the same manner. Long after the conversation was over, they were still thinking about those words. Fear always spoke louder than hope, so they couldn't stop thinking about how many opportunities they had already let pass. They acknowledged to themselves for the first time that they had been safeguarding their comfort rather than their future. They weren't prepared for the impact of that knowledge. Since then, they have been emotionally preparing for a move they previously thought was unachievable. They reenact hypothetical exchanges with you, speculating about your possible response and if you would be able to discern the genuineness of each statement. Pretending has become too painful for them, therefore they are no longer interested in acting as though nothing is wrong. Avoid skipping. Continue until the very end. There is something enormous in store for you. Their resolve grows stronger with each hour that goes by. However, it also heightens their concern that fate might put you both to the test one last time before everything shifts. They can't shake the feeling that something unexpected is about to happen. A time when the power of quiet will eventually fade and it will be impossible to conceal the truth. The narrative now reaches a pivotal moment that your lover never anticipated. They had secretly vowed to themselves that they will never again wait if one more clear indication shows up. What their hearts have guarded for so long will not be taken by another uncertain season. The peculiar thing is that these indicators arise one after the other, almost as though life is softly pushing them in the same direction. Every coincidence seems too significant to be disregarded. Their conviction that this relationship merits one sincere attempt is bolstered by each unanticipated reminder. The message they wish to convey and the world they envision are still separated by one more barrier. It's not someone else. Distance is not the issue. They have never told anyone about this secret worry. A fear so intimate that it has influenced every significant choice they have made up to this point. Don't skip it because that secret is fully revealed in the next revelation. Continue until the very end. There is something enormous in store for you. Your soulmate's next step could alter everything more quickly than either of you could have predicted once that concealed fear is eventually revealed. Your soulmate can sense a subtle change taking place right now, even if they are unable to articulate it. They've gotten to the point where they can no longer pretend that everything is normal. Every diversion wanes, every justification becomes less persuasive, and every route eventually returns to the same idea. They now have a different perspective on their own lives. Understanding that the biggest regret is never taking a chance at all rather than making a mistake. They now wake up every morning differently as a result of that awareness. They now question what will happen if they stay silent indefinitely rather than whether they should proceed. They always feel the same weight after hearing the response. They see a time when your paths will never cross again. And it hurts more than they could have imagined. There's a big thing waiting for you, so don't skip. Continue until the very end. They are being forced to make a decision that they can no longer put off with each heartbeat. They tend to be reminded that some connections are too significant to ignore by even the tiniest things, such as a well-known music, an unexpected smile from a stranger, or a location they happen to walk by. They are starting to realize that life rarely repeats its most significant opportunities, and this realization has fundamentally changed how they view the future. Then something happened that took them entirely by surprise. Instead of feeling depressed, they experienced clarity as they stared at an old memory. Every unsolved question seemed to suddenly point to a single, straightforward reality. They never made an effort to hide their emotions. They were attempting to get away from the fear that accompanied those emotions. They thought waiting would make things easier for a very long time. However, waiting simply intensified the feelings. Without speaking, each day felt heavier than the one before. They began seeing conversations that never took place, penning words they never sent, and speculating about how things could have turned out differently if courage had come sooner. It now seems impossible to keep the message they have been carrying inside their hearts hidden because it has become so potent. Avoid skipping. Continue until the very end. There is something enormous in store for you. They almost feel as though a single courageous choice will determine the course of their future. They also realize deep down that hesitation is no longer a defense. It is merely postponing the happiness they have long yearned for in secret. Now, neither of you is aware that the time is getting closer. In private, your soul partner has made a commitment that they won't break. The next time life presents them with even the tiniest opportunity, they will seize it without turning around. They no longer desire a future full of unsolved mysteries and limitless hypothetical scenarios. They seek assurance, integrity, and the opportunity to at last share everything they have held to themselves. However, one unanticipated revelation is destined to undermine their confidence in a way they never anticipated until that time comes. They are about to discover something that will cause them to reevaluate all of their preconceived notions about time, distance, and their relationship with you. They will be forced to take action much sooner than they had anticipated as a result of this finding because they will understand that waiting even a little longer could cost them the opportunity they have been waiting for all along. The next revelation completely alters the plot, so don't skip it. Continue until the very end. There is something enormous in store for you. The message your soulmate has been pleading with you to read may finally become impossible for them to hold inside when they discover this last secret. Your partner becomes quieter as they get closer to the truth. They are defending a choice that seems too significant to discuss too soon, not because they have given up. Since no one really knows what has been going on inside their hearts, they have stopped seeking guidance from others. Confusion was merely increased by each viewpoint. However, one emotion hasn't altered. They still find it impossible to forget you. They've started to notice that every time they try to go in a different way, they end up back where they started. They feel as though life has been softly guiding them through a series of unexpected moments until they are unable to reject what has always existed. Avoid skipping. There is something enormous in store for you. Continue until the very end. The moment your sweetheart finally shares all they've been keeping hidden has already been envisioned. After bearing this emotional burden for so long, they wonder if you will see the sincerity in their eyes or hear the relief in their voice. They understand that a single discussion has the power to change everything, but they also understand that even a brief period of silence can lead to a distance that neither of you ever desired. They can no longer ignore that realization. Additionally, each new sunrise serves as a reminder that there is not much time left to wait. Even though no one else can see it, a significant transformation has already started within them. The fears that used to dictate every choice are gradually becoming weaker. They are replaced by a quiet resolve that gets stronger every day. Before reaching out, they have begun to let go of the idea that everything must be flawless. Rather, they now think that integrity is more important than timing. Their perception of your relationship has completely changed as a result of this one modification. They are no longer preoccupied with potential problems. They are concentrating on what might at last work out. There's a big thing waiting for you, so don't skip. Continue until the very end. They've even discovered themselves grinning for no apparent reason because the idea of giving you the truth at last gives them a sense of hope they haven't had in a very long time. However, they are still troubled by one unresolved question. They keep asking if you've been experiencing this unseen attraction as well. If, without you recognizing it, your heart has been prepared for the same time. They are now anxiously seeking an answer to that question, which has become the last piece of the puzzle. Everything is getting close to the point where nothing will be concealed. Your soulmate has quietly made the decision to stop letting fear dictate how this tale ends. They have been delivering this message for far too long, and each delay has only increased its significance. They are aware that certain opportunities only come around once, and they don't want to go their entire lives wondering what may have happened if they had just had the courage to speak up. However, right before they make that life-altering decision, something unexpected is going to happen, something so unexpected that it will dispel any last doubt they may have. It will seem to be the last affirmation they have been anticipating. The clear indication that the time has finally come. Avoid skipping. Continue until the very end. The next moment in this journey is the one your soulmate never thought would truly occur, so something enormous is waiting for you. There will be no going back once it starts. Your soulmate is closer than ever to the moment they have been silently waiting for. The sense that something spectacular is going to happen is something they can no longer ignore. Without a visible clock, every day has turned into a countdown, and every hour that goes by serves as a reminder that some things are too crucial to put off. They have mentally rehearsed innumerable scenarios, wondering how things will change when the truth eventually leaves their hearts. The thing that shocks them the most is that the dread that had previously prevented them has started to lessen and has been replaced by an unanticipated sensation of calm. They seem to already be aware that the only way forward is to be honest. There's a big thing waiting for you, so don't skip. Continue until the very end. They have begun to notice even the slightest aspects in their surroundings because they think that every chance meeting and significant coincidence is preparing them for what is ahead. They are not looking for the ideal moment anymore. All they are doing is waiting for the unquestionably genuine moment. And they secretly think that moment is much closer than anyone knows. Behind the scenes, something even more amazing is taking place. Your soulmate has started to let go of their former self. The version that was constantly unsure, uncertain, and thought they needed more time. They've come to the realization that waiting has never made them feel at ease. All it has done is make it impossible to ignore their emotions. Each memory associated with you now has a new significance. These recollections now bolster their resolve rather than creating doubt. They've finally realized that genuine connections aren't determined by how long someone remains silent, but rather by the bravery they muster when it seems impossible to remain silent. Avoid skipping. Continue until the very end. There is something enormous in store for you. They have been pleading with you to hear a message that is now more than just words. They've turned it into a self-promise. A pledge that they will stop letting fear dictate their future. They are getting ready to enter an entirely new chapter in which hope triumphs over uncertainty and truth takes the place of hesitancy. Everything is now on the verge of a moment that could change people's lives. Your soulmate believes that the next choice they make will have an unanticipated impact on how both of your journeys unfold. They no longer question the veracity of this connection. In their hearts, they already know the answer to that question. Finding the guts to let you see what they have known for so long is the only thing left. They think that after you receive this message, nothing will ever feel the same. The gap that uncertainty created will start to close and be replaced by clarity that neither of you anticipated. There's a big thing waiting for you, so don't skip. Continue until the very end. This is precisely where the story you have been following has been headed. What follows, however, is even more unexpected. Fear, uncertainty, or uncertainty won't influence your soulmate's next step. It will be motivated by certainty. When that time comes, you'll see why it was crucial to read this warning before it was too late.